Men Against Murder. Each week at this time,
The Soul of Detroit
turns the spotlight on one of the great figures of
podcasting
and brings you his most exciting case. Tonight,
The Soul of Detroit's M.L. Elric.
in the tragedy at Marsden Manor.
You asked interrogator, try to bring it out of my face. It's gone.
What are you doing?
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric with another edition of ML's Soul of Detroit. And today we have a very, very special guest. You may know him as Jerry Peterson, but that's probably only if you've entered in some sort of business contract with him, or you hold a note to his house, or to his 1972 El Camino, or whatever the hell he's driving these days. But the rest of the world knows him as Jerry Vile. And some people know him as the front man of the Boners. Those people tend to be using walkers and hearing aids. Other people know him as the publishing impresario behind Fun Magazine and Orbit Magazine. And now he's probably best known as that guy that is hanging around the schoolyard. And people are like, is he okay? Well, he is okay. He's absolutely okay. But he is now... best known as, well, he told me somebody came up to him and said, is that Santa Claus? And I said, I don't think you want to see what's in his sack. Because he's putting on the Dirty Show, which started last weekend and runs again this weekend at the Russell Industrial Center just off of I-75 in Detroit. None other than Jerry Peterson, Jerry Vile. My friend, thank you for coming and joining us.
Hello, Mr. Elric. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. If I get some ab work done, I'm thinking maybe I can audition for some of the performance stuff next week.
Be a go-go boy.
You know what? I look amazing in a leather codpiece and zippered hood.
I'm sure you do.
So yeah, people say they like the hood because it hides my face, which is hurtful but tough to challenge. And putting all this together is Mr. Mark Fellhauer, who's here in studio, and Sean Windsor joins us from an oxygen tank in Washtenaw County, where he is continuing to coalesce and to write alternating columns about MSU's got their shit together, MSU's losing, MSU's got their shit together. I don't know what's going to happen tonight against Penn State, but hopefully it's MSU still has their shit together. How are you feeling, Sean?
Coalesce, huh? That's an interesting word to use.
Yes, I have a thesaurus at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant convalesce, but that's okay.
Did I say coalesce? I think I said
right.
Michigan
I'm coalescing.
State.
Here's the thing. I'm
I love it when
coalescing
two
around your
writers
greatness.
argue about words.
I'm coalescing around your greatness. How about that?
So before I came here, I was watching an old episode of How I Met Your Mother, where this woman refused to give Ted a second
who
date
watched those.
because he was the kind of guy who always pointed out errors in menus and on signs and stuff like that. And I thought, you know, nobody can really be that miserable in real life. And here we have proof that, no, you can be. So, Sean, thank you for showing me that truth is indeed
You just wanted to give me
stranger than
shit.
fiction.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever done that before to you, but thanks for making it a lifelong pattern.
Yeah, no.
I like the
good.
exaggeration.
It feels like the show is starting to convalesce.
Well, you know, whose name's on the marquee?
Or coalesce, as some
Okay.
etymologists.
I'm feeling okay, and I'm sorry that you're frustrated by your Spartans.
No.
Thank you for asking.
I am glad that someone with your keen eye is watching them as they take those of us on the bandwagon through some very treacherous territory. But actually, it's not a bandwagon because I'm always on board. But it is frustrating to watch them sometimes.
You just don't want them to get paid, but you happily pull for them.
They're very well compensated, but we can get to that another time when you're in studio and it's easier for me to put my hands around your neck. But our studio and our show is sponsored by two very generous patrons. You may know this one guy, Luke Nowacki. He helps people make sure that when they retire, they don't have to turn tricks, which is pretty cool.
I would say so, yeah. And Luke's at Pinnacle Wealth. He's going to find your finances. He's going to help your money make more money because he's going to provide rational financial advice, stocks, bonds. If you have a 401k, how do you allocate that? If you have a business, you want to start a 401k, Luke can help you out there. College saving plans, get those little kids on the right path. Get advice, get a strategy. Once again, Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748.
Because when you call Luke, he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
Yeah.
And before that Invermectin kicks in and knocks Sean into sleepy time, let's talk a little bit about David Hall, who has so many 5-star reviews that we don't have enough beads on our abacus to measure them, but who also is still making some great refi deals as the Fed is raising those rates. Do not wait. Give Hall Financial a call. Mark, what's the latest from our friends over at Hall Financial?
They're saving you money already by saving you the cost of your appraisal, which can save you up about $750 approximately. So callhallfirst.com is the website. Callhallfirst.com, or if you have a phone, one of those old-fashioned things, 866-CALL-HALL. Over 5,000 5-star reviews, including 10 stars from you, right? Because you used them twice.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's speaking of abacuses, I got to make. Yeah, although that's 10 green beads, so that's 10 times.
Of course, you use an abacus. It's old.
It's solar powered,
and it's old.
That's true too. So
Jerry and ML likes anything that's old.
Well, no wonder I'm a guest on the show.
Well, there's a difference between old things and classics, and it is funny to see Jerry being confused for Santa Claus, because when I first met Jerry back in 1990, I was looking through the photo file at the Detroit Free Press, and he was dressed as a flying nun. He was the lead singer, the front man for the Boners, and a epic punk band from the days when Bookie's was not a hipster joint in the Cass Quarter, which now I guess is called Midtown, but it was the place to go to see some really powerful driving music. So yeah, no, not.
How do you describe yourself?
Vintage.
Provocateur, artist. I mean, how do you describe yourself?
I usually don't have to.
Okay, all right.
He just reads what's on the warrant.
Yeah, it's usually left to other people, and it often starts with that, Jerry.
But you've done so many things.
Yeah, except make a good living.
Well, that's one of the things that always fascinated me too. Is at the same time you're on the edge, pushing the envelope so much that at one time there was a club that booked your band but said you couldn't be inside. So I mean, I don't know how that works as a business model. But you're also like the squarest cat around selling software. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, who the hell was selling software? It was you and Peter Carmanos.
And Rick Inatome.
Oh, Rick, yes, Inacomp. Whatever happened to that dude?
My partner in the software business bought the first computer the guy ever sold.
Damn. And how did you manage that dichotomy? Sort of. I mean, were you like a button-down software salesman, or did people come in and say, "Okay, who's this crazy guy with all the floppy disks?"
We would come in with a bunch of floppies and have to lug a portable computer, which was not that portable.
And that's different from the floppies you're lugging around now at the Dirty Show.
Yeah.
Which,
those are called testicles.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is being broadcast live, so you can see us, but we're shooting from the waist up. So please, if you're listening at home, feel free to check out the video replay on YouTube channel ML Elric. We promise you will be able to eat your 3 meals without any complications. But at the same time, you're doing all this crazy stuff. You're publishing Fun Magazine, which for anybody who remembers Fun Magazine, it was pretty out there, but pushing public figures into to ridicule. coming up with some pretty edgy elements, like the Big Fun page. You had all these hilarious sort of like fake word games and comics, and then I think you guys would slip in some restaurant reviews every once in a while too, and because you've always been pretty big on the local dining scene. What was that all about?
It's just what we like to do is eat and drink.
And a lot of art too. A lot of artists that started in fun and then moved on to Orbit magazine have gone on to bigger and better things. Who are some of the folks who you gave a start to, who we would now see in some more mainstream media?
Well, of course, I'll get to this year's special guest artist at the Dirty Show.
Yeah.
Which started 23 years and a week from that. This is our 23rd show.
Okay.
Which makes us Dirty Show 22.
Yeah, because of COVID, everybody skips a year.
No, well, it would have been our 22nd year, but COVID.
Yeah.
We had to take a year off.
Yeah,
That's a pretty boring way to put it.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing cool about that. But so yeah. Before we get to your featured artist, you had people who went on to do a lot of stuff out in Hollywood, and a lot of people who were involved in some pretty high-profile cartoons too, right?
Well, Glenn Barr,
Yeah.
if that's who you're thinking of, Niagara,
Yeah.
Mark Dancy.
Oh yeah, from Motor Booty magazine, still doing stuff. If you've ever been to St. Andrews Hall and you see their logo, that's one of Mark Dancy's productions, and it really captures that style of his. In fact, a mutual friend of ours, Rob St. Mary, put me together with Mark several years ago because we were thinking of turning my Kwame Kilpatrick book proposal into a graphic novel, and he said, "Oh, you should work with Mark. Mark could illustrate it." And I thought, well, Mark's he has, his style is sort of, it feels to me like it's very exuberant. But then I saw one of the graphic novels he had done about some twisted, backroads pastor. I said, okay, this guy's got enough darkness in him. He might be the right guy to do this Kilpatrick graphic novel, which may yet happen. But yeah, super talented cat. Another local talent that got his start with Jerry. Did you guys have some people end up doing Ren and Stimpy too?
Well, that was Glenn Barr.
That was Glenn. Okay.
Glenn worked on some Ren and Stimpy stuff.
Yeah. Another very distinctive style. Very sort of, I guess I'd think of it as punky burlesque meets sci-fi post-apocalyptic groove, hot chicks with guns and tattoos and leather, and everybody's sort of grotesque, but at the same time, very compelling. I mean, it was, imagine what Ren and Stimpy would have looked like with genitals.
And there you have the Dirty Show.
Yeah, so tell us about the Dirty Show, because I want to go back and talk a little bit about Orbit. There's a whole book on that. We'll have a link to that on our website if you want to know more. But talk to us about how the Dirty Show came about, because you always seem to be starting something new that really draws a lot of people and creates a buzz. I mean, are the things that go on in the Dirty Show today less shocking than they were when you started, or did people always say, yeah, whatever,
Well, when we were a private party, there's some things that were probably a lot more shocking than go on today in a public venue. But, it's just transformed into, something I could have never predicted. Well, number one, I didn't think there'd be a second Dirty Show, much less a 22nd one. Plus, we've had them in L.A., Chicago, Miami.
And do you travel every year with it, or is it just Detroit this year?
Just Detroit this year.
Okay,
It's been a while since we traveled. Traveling usually is a money-losing prospect.
Okay, so the first year was in the offices at Orbit Magazine,
Yeah.
which was above the old, is it B and B Collision Shop on
Yeah.
Main Street in Royal Oak.
Yeah, so we had to make sure that everybody who came in was at least 18. And one of the people we knew that we could get to work happened to be a crack whore. That was her actual profession.
That's what it said on her
Under
Social
W2,
Security.
yeah.
Well, she was a sex worker who was addicted to crack.
And at that time, that would
Yeah.
have been, well, I guess that would have been around 2000, right? So
Yeah, so we hired her.
she's kind of more of a retro addict. I mean, I thought crack was kind of whack by then.
It was. It was something that most people had learned lessons about.
Yeah. So what was she doing?
She was
Serving.
checking IDs and
Appetizers?
shaking everybody who came in for money.
Okay.
So she told everybody it was $5.
And there was no official cover charge.
An entrepreneur.
No charge at all. You know,
Good
we
for
were
her.
just doing an art show.
Okay.
Except the only thing different about our art show is you had to be 18 to see it.
So how is it that you ended up hiring her?
Just a friend of the magazine.
Okay. Okay. So she wanted to help out and.
Well, she wanted money, and we're just thinking, yeah, who can we get to do work that'll work for whatever crappy money we were offering to pay.
Okay.
We had never done an art show in the Orbit offices. We had art shows at our year-end parties,
Okay.
but
Which would have been back was that back in the state?
2000.
Or was it what
yeah, we had something at the state. At the state, I know we had.
what the hell was it? Wasn't it at one time like it had some crazy name like Party Town, or was some big dance club that was
Clubland.
Clubland, that's right, with the peppermint stripe sign out front. It was sort of Miami, LA comes to Detroit. I remember that was kind of a
Yeah.
weird scene.
And
but
somebody had gotten shot in Clubland.
okay,
So they were just totally dead. So we got it for just having a party in, just because they were so dead, whatever. And we packed it,
okay,
and
they just needed the biz.
they needed biz, and then they hooked up with 89X after and totally changed their format to the alternative music thing.
Okay, and this first show was just art on the wall. Any performance, any
there was-
interactive.
Music and just whatever was cool at the time.
Okay,
So if someone goes to the Dirty Show, which you can get tickets at dirtydetroit.com, what would you tell them they would expect to see or experience? Like sell us on it. Like what?
You know what? They'd probably just have a really good time. And people tend to wear fishnet a lot.
It's a good people watching thing
It's-
besides the art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I really, by studying how bad pornography is for people and how addictive it is, I realized how the Dirty Show works. It just releases hormones and dopamines and all these things that your brain loves. So everywhere you're looking, your brain kicks in, nipple, kick in more dopamine. You like that. And, but more, whatever.
but it's not porn. This is
erotic,
erotica,
right? Yeah.
right? I mean,
Once we hang it on
burlesque,
the
it's-
wall, it's no longer porn. It is fine art.
Art. Yeah.
Do you have
so.
NFTs yet?
No, we do not.
I'm not even
Good.
sure what that stands for, but I know the kids are buying them.
Is there anything that shocks you?
It's pretty hard to shock
I mean,
me.
has there been anything at a Dirty Show in the last 5 years or 6 years that you were like, ooh,
I'm not really big into to kink shaming, so
okay. But there has been something that even you're like, okay, well, not for me, but for someone else.
it's there's something that shocks me every year.
Okay, good.
Thing
That's,
that
So what would shock
Yeah.
what would shock us? because you've seen a few things over the last 50 years.
There's
that
a photo this year of somebody that has their tongue cut in half,
Okay.
and it's crossing over into an X, and holding a rolled up $20 bill, and that just creeps me out every time I see it. It's like yikes!
Yeah, certain body modifications
Yeah,
can be a little frightening.
I don't like biting my tongue, let alone dissecting it and then doing whatever calisthenics you have to do to be able to hold a rolled up $20 bill.
And I can't imagine like having a chipped tooth or something in a double-headed tongue or a canker sore.
Yeah, no, that's not good. That's not good. So there's going to be art on the walls. There are going to be people. Are there performances that are scheduled, like you need to get there at a certain time? I mean, or is it just
Definitely,
just like a carnival where stuff's happening all the time, and wherever you go, there's something that is a visual.
You're nailing it right there.
Ecstasy. Okay.
That is a better.
Okay. And I take it everything is the crack whore is not working the door.
No.
Okay.
We have a big bunch of unfun security people working the doors now.
It's gone legit, man. How frightening.
Yeah, it's totally. And plus, it's from a $5 shakedown, it's now a $42 in advance cover charge.
Damn.
Well, because it's sex, you can
Sell
charge
out.
more.
Kind of makes you nostalgic for your entrepreneurial
crack
friend. Yeah. No, whatever happened to her
She died.
from her addiction?
I would guess so.
Oh man.
Why do you sound so surprised, ML?
Well, I was hoping this was going to be one of these happy days. He said, well, we got her in a program. We got married. We've been
the
married
exception to the rule.
We've been married for 22 years. We got 3 beautiful children.
They're performing at the Dirty Show.
Isaiah, Jacob, and Bathsheba, and they have an organic farm somewhere on the east side of Detroit where they're raising alpacas and locally sourced paprika. That's a much better ending to me than she died.
She did.
She did. Damn. Well.
Yeah.
So ML was talking about Orbit magazine. I think a lot of people, when they think of Orbit, naturally think of the Quentin Tarantino shirt, Pulp Fiction. Is there an interest?
Called before, it used to be called the Orby shirt.
Yeah, Orby. Yeah, because that was the mascot.
The mascot. Yeah.
I mean, you probably have talked about it ad nauseum for a long time, but is there any great story behind that? Were you surprised that he put it on, or did you know about it? Yeah.
Well, of course, we knew about it because there's like a 20-something page contract that we had to sign
Really?
just for him to use it in the movie. And it was a scary contract. It was like, what do you think they're trying? Do you think this Quentin guy is trying to rip off our Orbit logo?
What did they want? Like, what was in the contract?
They wanted not to be sued by us when it appeared in the movie.
For rights, because you want to get a piece of the action
Yeah,
when it takes
whatever.
off. Did you sell a lot of T-shirts after that? Because I know you guys sold merch.
The T-shirts became very, very hip after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's what we did was we ended up giving away a ton of T-shirts. Every friend we had, all of a sudden wanted a Orbit T-shirt.
Well, that's what amazes me, because while you're very entrepreneurial, obviously had some experience with sales, and you're always coming up with something different, it doesn't ever feel like you quite monetize it. I mean,
Never.
you wondered whether we could get you a ride here, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know if he wants to get my 2007 Ford Focus, but then maybe you're driving a 2001 Ford Escort because, Orbit magazine, fantastic arts, entertainment, and news weekly.
I figured you'd be
Beautiful, but how much money did you make off it? I mean, you seem to be more of a guy who wants to make things happen than who wants to cash in on it.
Yeah, there really hasn't been any opportunities to cash in on things.
Besides that T-shirt.
Well, which he passed up. I know.
It's not a whole heck of a lot you can do with a T-shirt. I couldn't go sell it as the Pulp Fiction T-shirt.
Right.
Because of that contract.
Sell it to somebody who maybe bought a robe at the Salvation Army and wanted to be Quentin for
Halloween.
Halloween.
That just got to get some coffee, right? Some real good coffee.
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
that's
I've
the way he
had
likes it.
people call me up now and want to license it, but really hard to license a T-shirt design.
Well, and you just sort of seem to be someone who wants to do stuff. I mean, when we first met back in 1990, I was an intern at the Detroit Free Press, and I was writing about Jerry because Orbit was just getting ready to launch. And one of the stories I ran across, and I'd actually seen it and didn't really put two and two together, was that Jerry was part of the cast for a PBS film, one of the first things directed by Jonathan Demme that starred Susan Sarandon and Christopher Walken, and Susan Sarandon was raving at Jerry's charisma and his magnetism, and I got Jonathan Demme on the phone. I would have preferred to have Susan Sarandon on the phone, but I got Jonathan Demme on the phone, and it was very much sort of one of those Hollywood conversations where, like, Mr. Demme's on the phone, he's only got 5 minutes, and I'm talking to him, and I can hear it sounds like he's by the pool, and he answered my questions, and I said, "Did you really tell Jerry he should come out to L.A. and consider a career in Hollywood?" He said, "I absolutely did." And I said, "Well, why was he?" He said, "He was just an amazingly talented cat." And I said, "And why didn't he?" He's like, I don't know. And then I think I said, "Okay, just one more question." Like, "That's your 5 minutes. You're done." That was it. But that would have been a chance for you to go,
Well, I got
be Hollywood.
an advance copy of the Swing Shift script.
Oh, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell and
Goldie Hawn and Fred, the 80s act, Fred Ward.
Fred Ward.
He really took off.
Yeah, rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, I think. Wasn't that his big thing?
Something like that.
And he was one of the astronauts in The Right Stuff.
Right stuff, yeah.
He was the
Yeah.
guy who shit the bed. He opened the capsule.
Yep.
Gus Grissom. Oh boy, rest in
Yeah.
peace. He's now charging cover with that crack whore, I think, somewhere in the heavenly acres.
On another podcast with David Wilcock.
Is he?
I don't know. He's one of the astronauts that. There's a few of them that talk about aliens.
Oh,
He might be
great.
one of them.
So I guess they may have met him in their travels. But so you got the script for Swing Shift, and you said,
Then he wanted, what did you think of it? And I didn't like it, and I forget what kind words I used to describe it. Like, it's very interesting. Did you ever see 1941? Is what I said to him.
yeah, and
I love 1941.
there were some good parts in it. There was that was kind of a. It seemed like it was more of a star vehicle than an entirely cohesive movie. I mean, you just kind of went from scene to scene with all the Saturday Night Live guys in there.
Yeah.
I did like it when the ventriloquist guy was on the Ferris wheel and it cuts loose and starts rolling
Like
through the time. That was
the Jerry Lewis kind of guy.
yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love the dancing to Sing 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 in it.
Was that the big swing dance scene where they have the fight?
Gene Krupa drum solo.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That was Dan Aykroyd, John Candy was in that.
Belushi.
Bunch of other people. Oh yeah, sorry, I meant well, Candy was in it, and Belushi. He was the crazy tank commander, wasn't he?
Or like an
Or
American.
no, Aykroyd was, I think. But yeah, he was a fighter
Kamikaze,
pilot.
yeah.
Yeah, Wild Bill, whatever, Buckaroo Banzai. So you didn't do Hollywood, but I mean, you just seem to have this need. Maybe it's like a homing thing to sort of be around here and push the edge and do things that make people think and make people talk, and I guess one would presume make you wealthy beyond our wildest dreams. But it seems like you just kind of just keep going.
Yeah, well, it's weird. Like, acting. To me, I was pounded into from an early age that acting and artistry, singing, worst jobs anybody could have, and you'll just end up starving, and
So you went into publishing.
Yeah.
Boy, somebody should have told you that about the media. That's pretty brutal.
We were talking
Gig, too.
beforehand, and ML mentioned there was an art installation you did in 2013 for the bankruptcy, which was a giant Crisco can to
Yes,
ease
it was.
ease the
That's,
pain.
I
and-
thought it was scissors. That's right. The Crisco can for the bankruptcy.
So what happened with that? Was that a battle of any consequence? And where is the Crisco can today?
It was sold at auction to Amir.
Oh, the old owner of St. Andrews Hall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did he do with it?
Clutch cargoes. And,
Oh, he's probably got it in a Swiss vault somewhere.
So what you did? You took this giant Crisco can and put it. Where exactly did you put it?
Well, I had to make really detailed blueprints and have it fabricated, and it was basically a D. And then to get the graphics made, to stick on that D-shaped, and then cut out the notching for the ledges where the fists were.
And where did you take it at? Where did you leave it at? Did you leave it at the DIA?
Put it right under the fist.
Right under the fist.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes a lot.
On Jefferson Avenue.
It's
Makes a lot
under
more
it.
sense.
There
Yeah.
were some knuckle drags and the
How long did it
top
stay
of
there?
the Crisco. So was it really full of Crisco, or was that some sort of
it was silicone.
silicone? Okay, so the idea was the bankruptcy's
Sure,
coming,
fisting us. Yeah.
and we're gonna get it where you
Where it
probably
hurts.
don't want it, and the Crisco may make a horrible experience. Just that
less friction.
that much less horrible. But that's, again, this is you trying to stir the pot. I mean, what drives you to get out there and just say, you know what, I'm gonna give it to people in a way that really makes them think, but they might not have the courage to do on their own.
Well, the fist was in one of the issues of Orbit. It was like, when writing about things in Detroit, it was all it's missing is a giant can of Crisco in an Orbit somewhere. So that was an idea that I always sat around.
So when you put it out there under the fist, like how long did it stay out there? And did you actively watch it to
There's
see
like
if?
jokes. It only lasted a few hours, but that was a time when your garbage cans could be in front of your house for weeks
Yes.
in Detroit.
The city services weren't the greatest. Yeah.
Or an abandoned house could be up there till somebody.
For years.
But we got to get rid of that Crisco can.
Yeah. So they sent city workers out really quick to get it, and.
Did you walk out there and go, hey, what do you guys do with my Crisco can?
I had somebody else call. I didn't know if I was going to get some kind of
Fine.
littering ticket.
Oh, weak.
So, but you were able to get it back.
Yeah,
They didn't take it to the scrap yard or try it
They
out.
took it to the city impound lot.
Okay.
Did you have any other kind of guerrilla art installations like that?
There was a right after the Crisco can, there was these giant for sale tags that mysteriously appeared on everything in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it
Everything was
seemed
up for sale.
Everything was going to be up for sale. It seemed like the DIA was
Oh, Belle
Owned by the
DIA,
Walmart
zoo.
family.
Yeah, there were a lot of them. Yeah.
the Walton family.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been great. Then we could have had hillbillies fondling the Thinker. And
That'd be and we decided to put this in our bathroom because he's sitting down like he's taking a squat.
exactly, it'd be a demonstration project. It's to help the kids get out of the outhouse and onto indoor plumbing.
Yeah, and then the DIA, when that was really getting close and Graham Beale was getting ready to leave, took a bunch of flamingos, which had been spray painted to look like vultures, and put out one of those little flamingo parties for his retirements.
I feel like you don't see many of these kind of guerrilla type art installations anymore. I don't know. You just,
Now, I quit doing them
yeah.
because they just cost a lot of money.
But they get such a good reaction. I mean, everywhere, not just here, but everywhere.
But they
And you
don't
s-
get
you
a
don't-
good reaction when you have to buy hundreds of pink flamingos
Sure.
and cans of spray paint and marabou to put around their necks.
And the alternative magazines seem to have disappeared too. Like they boomed in the 80s and 90s, and then obviously the internet just destroyed it. But I don't know. I kind of miss. I know Ann Arbor had a pretty big one I used to read all the time. It's like I'm sure that's gone now. Just not a sustainable
it's,
business.
It was getting hard towards the end of Orbit, with print, with the internet catching up. And, I mean, when the Village Voice can't really do anything, and
But I'm surprised they can't even find a footing online.
it's, was never their model to be online. We were one of the very first magazines on the internet. And basically what happened to us was our staff got all grabbed up by Suck. And, the people in our office that knew how to do websites got really incredibly great jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when if you could
If you knew HTML back when people didn't know
Sure.
there was a thing called HTML,
yeah,
you did really well.
you could write your own ticket. So tell us before we let you go about the featured artist at this year's Dirty Show and
Once again, dirtydetroit.com for more information.
Well, this year our artist is Tristan Eaton, whom used to be an illustrator for Orbit magazine. And turns out we gave him his first ever illustration job, art job. And since then, he has gone on to become about as famous as any artist from Detroit has ever been.
And you said way back then, I know this kid's going to go far, right? You immediately realized.
It's like we thought Glenn Barr was going to go far, and Niagara would go far, and they would be in museums. But Tristan actually did go into museums. In fact, he's part of the MoMA's permanent collection. He invented the thing called the Dunny and the Money, which are some of the very first vinyl toys. He was the co-creator of Kid Robot. And these vinyl toys became huge. And if you just look at, any, like when you're buying your daughter toys, like I'm sure you saw those My Little Pet Shop things, and
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff was, seems to have been influenced by the underground vinyl toy movement.
Which seemed to be, was that really big here in the beginning? I feel like, was that
Well, there
launched
one
here or am I?
shop here? It's bigger in big cities.
And you were saying before
Other
the show
countries.
that Tristan did something with the Super Bowl. Was it this year or was it before?
It was the 100th NFL anniversary year, 2020.
Okay.
The last Super Bowl without Corona.
So that Miami, I want to say, yeah.
Yeah, Miami.
Okay.
And he did the ticket, the program, and his art on that will make those tickets and programs collectible, by the way.
Wow, that's a huge gig.
No, it's probably more collectible than, they've been since. I'm trying to think of somebody big. I don't collect that stuff, so.
Well, when you say collectible, I think, one of the things that led to Orbit's demise is one of the things that's leading to sort of our demise as a distinctive place, which is Dave's Comics and Collectibles. That was and I think Glenn probably did a lot of the illustrations for their ads too.
He did them all.
Yeah, and
Higgins.
These ads were suitable for framing. That was a great shop. The record shops, all the clubs and restaurants and stuff. There's still places to hear music and get a beer and things like that. But just these places where you could go and just have this tactile experience with music, where I want to hold these albums, or I want to look at this, or I want to listen to them, or I want to look at these vintage toys or comics. That stuff just feels like it's
something I can
it's
roll
all going.
a legal joint in.
Well, it's legal now, Jerry. You've been around that long. It's all okay now.
When I got popped for it, it was a felony.
I'm sure.
When did you get
You and
popped
John
for it?
Sinclair.
High school.
So what year? Like, are we talking? Yeah, is that around the?
John Lennon did not write a song about me.
Well, you didn't get 10 for 2 either.
No.
So
Or did you? I don't know. What did you get for it?
I got a hash pipe taken away.
Did you get hit with any time for it?
I got grounded.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
It's just as bad.
That's American justice.
And I think we spent about 3 hours in jail and had to wait for his parents to come pick us up.
Does it shock you how pervasive it is? Like how it's just everywhere now, and it's legal?
No, I was thinking and hoping much more would be legal by now.
Yeah. Well, shrooms are getting there.
We're on our
Yeah.
way. Yeah, we're on our way.
Well, it sounds like shrooms were like the answer to depression and every other
Microdosing.
psycho
Yeah.
problem that Klonopin and Valium didn't fix.
Yeah. Well, they thought the same thing about LSD, but I think that thing got out of hand, and so they kind of abandoned it before really, giving it a full scrutiny. But yeah.
Well, I think the people that were conducting the tests were going, this is kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's
Timothy Leary. I mean, prime example.
what are we using our grant money for? Well, I got this. I got this bus covered in paint, and
Well,
we're
yeah,
driving
plus
around with these young hotties.
hard to get a lot of public support when you have the merry pranksters, driving around and
It may have been a marketing issue.
yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
you start saying stuff like, hey, give the kids these and they won't want to join a corporation or fight in a war.
Yeah. And Eli Lilly's saying, "Well, we're a corporation."
Well, now they realize they can make money off of it. So yeah.
Yeah. So
Talk to the Dolphins with it, which is that John Lilly?
I'm not sure. I think we're gonna have a dolphin on next week. They have such high pitched voices. I'm not sure that these microphones are ready for it. And I've heard dolphins are actually mean. That like they taunt people and
They rape people.
Yeah. So
Sex for pleasure. Yeah.
So we may have, if the Dolphins are in, we're going to have them sit on Sean's side of the studio because I don't want to get too close to an abusive porpoise.
Dolphin. You're such a dolphin phobe.
I've already had my my unpleasant probing as a candidate for
Yeah,
public
so-
office. So.
Yeah, so back onto the Dirty Show.
Please.
There are, probably 15 different burlesque acts a night doing multiple skits. So you'll see like real sexy Gumby.
Very nice.
You'll see somebody
And somebody's pokey.
a certain part,
But not
of
the
his
character.
anatomy.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's where the Crisco can ended up. So
That would be Jet Noir.
So you'll just see a lot of
Yeah,
things
okay.
you most likely have not seen before.
You're going to see stuff that will blow you away. And I happen to like the boylesque even better than the girls, as much as I love burlesque. Because the guys they just crack me up.
So there's something for everybody at the Dirty, but you still have to be 18, right? Is
You
that?
have to be 21.
Oh, you got to be 21.
Oh, because God, it's so commercial now. What are they selling booze in there?
Yeah, they
Really?
do sell booze, yeah.
Okay.
Huh?
Well, the world is slowly.
2,000 people, over 2,000
Yeah.
people last Saturday.
Damn. Well, that's all right. So the world is slowly catching up with Jerry Vile, and if you want to see indoors what 10 or 20 years from now you may see on our main streets, go to the Dirty Show. Mark, how do people buy tickets, find out what's going on in the program?
Go to the website, dirtydetroit.com.
So Jerry,
See all the different tickets available and check it out. Get an idea of what you're going to see.
That's right. Prepare yourself, brace yourself. Think of it as rubbing a little Crisco on your brain.
Yeah, you can also go to dirtyshow.org.
Okay.
How is that different?
It sounds more
It's a
What it sounds like a nonprofit.
nonprofit. Yeah.
well, it sounds like
It's an orgy.
Oh, okay. There you go.
you're just making enough profit to buy another 100 flamingos and turn them into vultures. So any profits will be reinvested into public jackassery. So
Yeah, and Tristan's art ended up on the cover of the Metro Times this week.
okay.
Good.
So
you
check
can,
out the
take
Metro
a look
Times.
at it, and still have a poster you can buy of his for only $100, and it would be a lot like if you went to Cranbrook when Keith Haring was there and got his poster for $20, and today it would be worth a lot more than $20, and that's what's going to happen with the Tristan posters.
Okay, so those are going for $100. That's an investment. Start your art collection today. Jerry, if you're going to stick around, we have a a piece we're playing in room 7609 that was suggested by Jerry. So this is a guy who was here before New Wave, during New Wave, and after New Wave. So if anybody wants to take an issue with this one,
I was trying to look important, but I really don't have any place to go now.
that's okay. It's warm in here. I
know.
At least you got the Dirty Show. All I have is this podcast. So yeah,
I've got to work 4 days a year.
Well, we'll finish this show, and then you and I will find a nice trash can fire to hang out at, and maybe someone from the bread.
Are you running for office again?
No. That's if
That's the fire you guys are going to gather.
Yeah.
around, that dumpster.
if I were running for office again, I'd be setting the fires. So that's although maybe that's not a bad next move.
Seemed like you would have been a really good councilman.
I would have been different from what we got
Yeah.
now. That's
You would have been more
for
miserable
sure.
than you are now,
But,
though. I think you would have.
It would have been. Let's put it this way: a few hours a week with Sean would not have seemed so bad after spending 5 days a week with some of the people who are running the city. And I just found out that that a guy who I exposed many times at Fox 2, Brian Banks, one of the most nefarious characters in recent
buddy.
Detroit political history, is mounting a comeback. So yeah, I think
Who's going to keep an eye on him now? Seriously.
well,
I mean, who's going to keep an eye on any of us?
I wish I knew the answer to that, and I'm frightened that I don't. But yeah, we'll see. But anyways,
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
I think the show is starting to convalesce. It's really coming together. Unlike Hudson, Ohio, which is no shanty town, thanks in large part to their former mayor. But Craig Schubert's vigilance came with a high price. Mayor Schubert resigned after raising some cautionary data points about a plan to allow ice fishing on a frozen city lake. Schubert wasn't worried that anyone would drown while they were fishing. He was more concerned about those other fish nets. If you allow ice fishing with shanties, then that leads to another problem, prostitution, he said. He didn't offer much proof, but we've heard enough evidence to anoint him our Geek of the Week and to surmise that he will not be buying a ticket to this weekend's
that would freak him
installment of The Dirty Show.
I might kill him.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
He hated Duran Duran.
Yeah, so Jerry loves new wave music, not a fan of Duran Duran, probably because you didn't have enough frilly shirts.
They were girlfriend stealers.
Oh yeah, no, if
Rock and turned it into like bubblegum punk rock.
oh yeah, no, if John Taylor walks into a room, if Simon Le Bon walks into a room, and you got a woman on your arm, all of a sudden you don't. I mean, these guys were good looking and really good at what they did.
Wasn't safe till George Michael.
Well, I think the ladies like George. He just didn't really reciprocate. But Jerry has suggested that we listen to No Tears by Tuxedo Moon, which got quite an edge on it for New Wave, but we're going to talk about why it fits into that category on the backside.